At 73, Miriam sat in her empty living room, realizing she hadn't spoken to another soul in 4 days. Sound familiar? You're not alone. Studies show that 35% of adults over 70 experience chronic loneliness, and after losing spouses, friends, or facing health challenges, many feel completely isolated. But what if I told you that some of the happiest seniors I know actually prefer their own company? Today, I'm sharing 5 real-life guides that transformed lonely seniors into content-fulfilled individuals who genuinely love their solo lives. These aren't just tips, they're complete life transformations that work even when everyone else is gone. Meet Miriam Sullivan, a 73-year-old retired librarian from Phoenix. 2 years ago, Miriam's life looked drastically different. After her husband of 45 years passed away, her 3 closest friends moved to assisted living facilities, and her adult children lived thousands of miles away. She found herself completely alone for the first time in decades. She'd wake up with no one to talk to, eat meals in silence, and spend entire weekends without human interaction. The loneliness was suffocating. But here's where Miriam's story gets interesting. Today, she describes herself as the happiest she's ever been. She's not pretending or putting on a brave face. She genuinely loves her life, cherishes her alone time, and has discovered a deep sense of contentment that doesn't depend on others. How did she do it? The answer lies in these 5 life-changing guides that I'm about to share with you. Before we dive in, I want to hear from you. Have you experienced this kind of loneliness? Are you currently struggling with being alone? Drop a comment below and let our community know you're not the only one facing this challenge. Now, let's discover how Miriam transformed her loneliness into lasting happiness. Number 1. The art of befriending yourself. The first breakthrough came when Miriam realized she had been living with a stranger, herself. After decades of focusing on her husband, children and friends, she barely knew who she was anymore. This is where the art of befriending yourself begins, and it's more powerful than you might imagine. Miriam started with something simple but revolutionary. She began talking to herself out loud, not the worried muttering we all do, but actual conversations. Every morning she'd sit with her coffee and ask herself, "How are you feeling today, Miriam? What do you need right now?" She'd answer honestly, discussing her plans, concerns and hopes as if speaking to a dear friend. Next, she created personal rituals that honored her own company. She started setting the dining table properly for herself, using her good china instead of paper plates. She'd light candles during dinner, play her favorite music, and treat each meal as a special occasion. This wasn't about pretending someone else was there, it was about recognizing that her own company deserved respect and celebration. The breakthrough moment came when Miriam started keeping a self-friendship journal. Each evening she'd write herself a letter, sharing the day's experiences, offering encouragement for tomorrow's challenges, and acknowledging her accomplishments. She discovered she was actually quite interesting, funny, and wise qualities she'd forgotten, while always focusing on others. She also developed what she calls self-dates. Every Wednesday she'd take herself somewhere special, a museum, a new restaurant, a scenic drive, or even just a different section of the library. She learned to enjoy her own reactions to new experiences, to savor moments without needing to share them immediately with someone else. The most powerful technique Miriam discovered was positive self-dialogue. Instead of the critical inner voice that said, "You're all alone and pathetic," she consciously developed a supportive internal friend who would say things like, "You're handling this beautifully, and look how much you've grown." This wasn't toxic positivity, it was genuine self-compassion. Creating your personal sanctuary spaces, well, it's something Miriam learned was absolutely vital. Her next revelation came when she realized her home felt a bit like a museum of her past life, full of couples' furniture, family photos and spaces designed for entertaining others. She understood that to be happy alone, she needed to create spaces that celebrated her current life, not mourned her previous one. She started with her living room, which had always been arranged for conversations with her late husband. Instead of the traditional sofa facing the television, she created what she calls her joy corner, a comfortable reading chair positioned near a large window, with a small side table for her coffee and books. She added a soft throw blanket in her favourite colour, bright turquoise, which, by the way, her husband had never liked, and positioned a small plant collection within arm's reach. The dining room transformation was equally powerful. Instead of the large table that seated 8, she found a smaller round table perfect for 1, positioning it near the window where she could watch birds while eating. She created a celebration station nearby, a small cabinet where she keeps candles, her favourite music, special teas, and even a single flower in a vase that she changes weekly. Her bedroom became a true personal sanctuary. Miriam replaced the king-size bed with a comfortable queen, adding pillows in colours and textures that made her happy. She created a meditation corner with a comfortable cushion, soft lighting, and inspiring books. Most importantly, she removed photos that made her sad and replaced them with images that brought her joy. Nature scenes, artwork she loved, and pictures of herself during happy moments. The kitchen transformation was practical, yet meaningful. She organised everything for easy access by one person, created a special coffee station that made her morning ritual feel luxurious, and designated a creativity zone where she could try new recipes or crafts while cooking. Perhaps most importantly, Miriam created what she calls memory integration spaces, areas where she honoured her past without being trapped by it. She designed a beautiful memory shelf with carefully chosen photos and mementos, allowing her to visit these memories intentionally rather than being ambushed by them throughout her home. She also established activity zones throughout her home. A puzzle area in the sunroom, a craft space in the spare bedroom, a music corner with her old piano and a gardening station by the back door. Each space invited her to engage in activities she enjoyed, making her home feel alive and purposeful. The most surprising change was adding mirrors in unexpected places, not for vanity but to create the illusion of companionship and to remind herself that she was present and deserving of a beautiful environment. The digital connection revolution for seniors, well, that's a big one. At 73, Miriam had always been intimidated by technology, but loneliness became a powerful motivator to overcome her digital fears. What she discovered was a vibrant online world specifically designed for seniors seeking meaningful connections, without the pressure of traditional social situations. Her journey began with video calls to her grandchildren, but she quickly discovered something unexpected. She actually preferred these digital visits to some in-person interactions. There was no pressure to clean house, prepare food, or maintain energy for hours. She could connect authentically from her comfortable space, end the conversation when she felt tired, and still maintain meaningful relationships. Miriam then discovered senior-focused online communities that changed everything. She joined Silver Surfers Book Club, an online group where participants read the same book monthly and discuss it via video chat. Unlike traditional book clubs that required driving, parking and social anxiety, this format allowed her to participate from her favourite chair with her coffee, muting herself when needed, and engaging at her comfort level. She also found Wisdom Circle, a platform where seniors share life experiences and advice. Miriam discovered that her decades of life experience were valuable to others facing similar challenges. She began mentoring younger seniors dealing with loss, finding that helping others significantly reduced her own feelings of isolation. The breakthrough came when she joined virtual volunteering for seniors, where she could contribute to causes she cared about from home. She began tutoring children in reading via video chat, transcribing historical documents for museums, and even providing phone support for other lonely seniors. These activities gave her purpose and connection without requiring physical travel or energy she didn't always have. Miriam learned to use social media differently than younger generations, not for showing off, but for genuine connection. She joined private Facebook groups for seniors in her city, discovering local resources, events, and even finding neighbours she never knew shared her interests. She learned that social networking for seniors could mean finding a walking buddy, someone to check on each other during storms, or simply people who understood her generation's perspectives. One of her most surprising discoveries was online learning communities. She enrolled in virtual courses through senior centres and universities, attending lectures about art history, participating in online language exchanges with international seniors, and even taking virtual museum tours with guided discussions. These activities, really stimulated her mind while connecting her with like-minded peers worldwide. She also learned important digital safety practices specifically for seniors, how to recognize scams, protect personal information, and navigate online spaces safely. This knowledge gave her confidence to explore digital connections without fear. After months of random attempts at staying busy, Miriam discovered that true contentment came not from constant activity, but from purposeful, joy-filled routines that gave structure and meaning to her days. This wasn't about rigid scheduling. It was about creating anticipation and rhythm that made being alone feel like a chosen lifestyle rather than a default situation. Miriam's transformation began with redesigning her mornings. Instead of waking up and wondering how to fill another empty day, she created what she calls her sunrise ritual. She'd wake at 7 o'clock in the morning, brew her favourite coffee blend, and spend 20 minutes on her porch watching the world wake up. During this time, she'd practice gratitude, noting 3 things she was looking forward to that day. This simple routine transformed her mornings from anxious emptiness to peaceful anticipation. Her weekly structure became equally important. Mondays became Miracle Mondays, where she'd try something new, a different walking route, a new recipe, or a craft project she'd been postponing. Wednesdays were Wisdom Wednesdays for her digital volunteering and online learning. Fridays became Freedom Fridays, where she'd have no scheduled activities, allowing spontaneity and rest. The breakthrough came when Miriam realized that routine could include built-in surprises. She created mystery envelopes at the beginning of each month, writing different activities, destinations, or projects on slips of paper. When she felt stuck or bored, she'd draw an envelope and commit to doing whatever it suggested. This system gave her the security of routine while maintaining the excitement of unpredictability. Her seasonal routines became particularly meaningful. In spring, she'd plan her garden and take daily walks to observe changes in nature. Summer meant early morning porch time and evening stargazing. Fall brought crafting projects and comfort food experiments. Winter became her reading season, with cozy afternoon tea rituals and evening reflection time. Miriam also developed celebration routines for acknowledging personal milestones that others might not notice. She'd mark the anniversary of overcoming challenges, celebrate completing projects, and honor her own growth with special meals, small gifts to herself, or favorite activities. This practice helped her recognize that her life was worth celebrating, even without others to acknowledge her achievements. Perhaps most importantly, she created connection routines that didn't depend on others' availability. She'd write letters to distant friends and family members, not expecting responses, but enjoying the act of reaching out. She'd call local businesses to compliment excellent service, brightening someone else's day while practicing positive interaction. She'd leave encouraging notes in library books or on community bulletin boards. Her evening routines became sacred time for processing the day. She'd review her journal, plan tomorrow's small adventure, and end each day by reading something inspiring. This routine helped her feel accomplished and forward-looking rather than dwelling on loneliness or regrets. The most powerful aspect of Miriam's routine-based approach was flexibility. She learned to adjust her routines based on energy levels, weather, health, or mood, without abandoning the structure entirely. This adaptability prevented routine from becoming prison and kept it as a source of comfort and anticipation. The final and most transformative discovery in Miriam's journey was realizing that her years of experience, wisdom, and unique perspective could create something meaningful that would outlast her physical presence. This wasn't about grand gestures or expensive projects. It was about channeling her life experience into something that brought her deep satisfaction while benefiting others. Miriam's legacy project began simply. She started writing letters to her future great-grandchildren who weren't even born yet. These weren't formal memoirs, but personal stories about what life was like in her era, lessons she'd learned, mistakes she'd made, and wisdom she wished she'd known when she was younger. Writing these letters gave her days profound purpose and helped her see her experiences as valuable rather than simply old stories. This writing project evolved into something larger. Miriam began documenting family recipes, not just ingredients and instructions, but the stories behind each dish. Who taught her, what occasions they were served for, and how they connected her family across generations. She realized she was the only remaining keeper of these culinary memories, making her project feel urgently important. Her next legacy project emerged from her professional background as a librarian. She began volunteering to help other seniors organize their family documents, photos, and memorabilia. This work was deeply satisfying because she was helping others preserve their legacies while using skills she'd developed over decades. Each family's story she helped organize reinforced the value of her own experiences. Miriam also discovered the joy of skill-sharing projects. She began creating simple instructional videos for basic life skills that younger generations often missed: how to properly iron clothes, basic sewing repairs, traditional cooking techniques, and even social etiquette that seemed to be disappearing. These projects made her feel valuable and connected to younger generations who genuinely appreciated her knowledge. Her most unexpected legacy project came from her garden. Miriam began saving seeds from her plants and creating small packages with growing instructions to give away. She'd leave them at community centres, libraries, and neighbours' mailboxes with notes about the plant's history and care. This project satisfied her nurturing instincts while literally spreading beauty in her community. Her most fulfilling project became mentoring other newly widowed seniors. Through her senior centre's outreach program, she began making regular phone calls to people experiencing the kind of loneliness she had overcome. These conversations were mutually beneficial. Helping others reinforced her own progress while providing the meaningful human connection she craved. Miriam learned that legacy projects work best when they align with existing interests and skills rather than requiring entirely new competencies. Her library background led to organizing projects, her gardening hobby became seed sharing, and her personal struggles became the foundation for helping others. The most surprising aspect of these projects was how they made being alone feel like an advantage rather than a limitation. Miriam could work on her projects at her own pace, follow her interests without compromise, and dedicate time to meaningful work without coordinating with others' schedules. These projects also provided natural conversation starters for the social interactions she did have. Instead of discussing health problems or complaining about loneliness, she could share exciting progress on meaningful work, creating more positive and engaging social connections. What knowledge, skills, or experiences do you have that could benefit others? What stories or wisdom would you want to preserve for future generations? Let me know in the comments. Your ideas might inspire others to start their own legacy projects. Now let me show you how these 5 guides completely transformed Miriam's life in ways that will surprise and inspire you. 2 years later, Miriam's transformation is remarkable. The woman who once sat in silence for days now wakes each morning with purpose and anticipation. Her home has become a sanctuary that reflects her personality and supports her happiness. She maintains meaningful connections through technology without depending on others for daily fulfillment. The most dramatic change isn't what she does, but how she feels. Miriam no longer experiences loneliness as emptiness. Instead, she treasures her solitude as freedom. She can pursue her interests without compromise, maintain her energy without social exhaustion, and contribute meaningfully to others' lives on her own terms. Her legacy projects have connected her with dozens of people who value her wisdom and experience. The videos she creates, letters she writes, and mentoring she provides have given her life profound meaning that doesn't depend on proximity to family or long-time friends. Perhaps most importantly, Miriam has discovered that happiness after 70 doesn't require replacing what you've lost. It requires creating something new that honors who you've become. She's not trying to recreate her married social life. She's built an entirely different but equally fulfilling existence. Today, when people ask if she gets lonely, Miriam smiles and says, "I'm alone, but I'm not lonely." There's a huge difference, and I finally understand what that means. If Miriam's transformation resonates with you, please hit that like button and share this video with someone who needs to hear that it's possible to be happy alone after 70. Which of these 5 guides spoke to you most? Are you ready to start befriending yourself, creating your sanctuary, exploring digital connections, building meaningful routines, or starting your own legacy project? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe for more life-changing advice specifically for seniors.